Yo, what's up, Enthusiast, and welcome back to the Dark Movie channel. My name is Toby, and today, well, it has been a great year for movies, and I want to rank them in different categories. I want to say first that this video is going to be split into parts. It has to be, or it's going to be like a 4-hour long video. So, this is split into parts. Link is down in the description for the second part, and I will also say that this isn't the full list of movies I've seen this year. That is linked in the description again. It's on Letterboxd if you want to see that and see every movie I actually watched this year. But now let's get to the ranking. First and foremost, I wanted to start up with Hell House Origins, the Carmichael Manor. Many people were saying it's like the scariest movie of all time, of 2023. It's the best movie of 2023. And I watched it, and while it is alright and scary at most times, and I found it enjoyable, I just don't really find the appeal for found footage horror movies. There's some that I can tolerate and like the Hell House series. The first one I've seen, it's not too great, but it's alright. Hell House LLC Origins is decent and alright, and I did actually get scared sometimes, and that's kind of why I have it on the honorable mentions. And honestly, I would recommend you guys check it at least once. Now, Birth/Rebirth. It's an interesting premise that was executed pretty well. I wasn't too big fan of this movie, but I found it to be decent and actually watchable at least. And I had a alright time watching it. I love the performances, the creepy things and eerie things that happens in the movie, and how different it is from other movies. And the premise, like I said, is just incredible. And then Mallium. This is a horror movie. My good friend actually found it to be like the best of one of the best in 2023 and stuff like that. He really loved it. And so I checked it out, and for the most part, I found it to be just alright. I love how gory it is, and I love the premise. I didn't even know it was a reboot, but I will check out the original. But love the premise about like a rookie police officer willing to take a last shift at a newly discovered police station. Love that premise. And the execution was decent, and then the end, it was more of this third act and the ending that kind of really just set me off on the wrong path. The whole I can't remember what it is, but some cultish shit that happened, it really just set me on the wrong path. Missing, I actually watched Searching probably a couple of weeks before watching this movie. I didn't even know there was coming out a sequel to Searching. I was just randomly watching a movie, and Searching for me was phenomenal. Loved how they implemented these computer things, and the kind of police chase and everything was just great. And when it comes to Missing, I think it actually was fantastic again. I think Missing is as good as Searching, but I did not find a place to put it in these categories that I've spanned out for 2 videos, because this is a part 1. My part 2 is already up on the channel. Please check it out down in the description. But Missing was just a phenomenal movie that I loved watching in cinema. An honorable mention for me also is The Marvels. when you're probably not like, why isn't this on like best comic book movie or something like that? Look, I found it to be decent. I found it to be enjoyable. You know, is it the best of the MCU? Hell no. Is it the best of the Phase 4 and 5? Hell no. But it was enjoyable, and that was all I needed. But I just didn't find a place to rank it with the other movies that I've put on these categories. So I just had to do it in the honorable mention. But I mean, Kamal Khan and Carol Danvers, of course, Brie Larson, and Iman Vellani, and everyone was just fantastic in this movie. Loved the comedy, and the action sequences was phenomenal, really great. I think the main problem was just the villain was a bit lackluster for me and pretty generic, but that's probably the most negative thing about the movie. Last but not least, Elemental. Fun fact, I actually watched it on my phone while on a road trip, and when I say I loved this film, I mean it. I absolutely loved this film. The animation style was fantastic. Loved how like the elemental, when they like react to each other, they like, if fire and water, you know, maybe fire boil the water, or like water puts out the fire, and they have to be like so cautious. Love that. And I loved how like this, I guess, the water boy and then the lava girl, I guess, or fire girl, then actually find peace, I will say, actually, and friendship. I love those dynamic in this movie. Like I said, the animation style, love it, and it was just a great story. It was a really great story. We had a lot of sequels in this year. We had another sequel to the Saw franchise, John Wick franchise, Extraction franchise, I guess, the Rocky franchise. All of these expanded together in 2023. And, well, I'm here to rank it, so let's begin. Coming up at number 10, we got Evil Dead Rise. For me, I did not get to watch it in theaters, so I had to watch it in streaming, but it was alright. Really great movie. I absolutely loved it. Loved the gore. Loved the Evil Dead franchise at all. Like, the whole Evil Dead franchise, absolutely love. So, watching Evil Dead Rise, seeing it become a new Evil Dead Rise, a complete reboot, and the creepy, eerie, disgusting things that happens in the movie, loved every bit of it. And the performances, especially from the mother, was phenomenal. And I will say, I think the only negative for me was that it was a bit overhyped for me, at least. I was like, everyone's saying it's like the top 10, 5, number 1 movie of the year. And so I watched it and was like, this wasn't the thing I was expecting. It's still good, but why was you guys saying that it was best movie of the year, best horror movie of the year? Like, I don't get it, you know? And nothing wrong, like, still, I love this film. Don't get me wrong about that. But it was just way too overhyped for me. Now, number 9, we have Hunger Games: The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I did a watch along of every like Hunger Games movie for like a week, and then like right before Hunger Games and Battles of Songbirds and Snakes, and I absolutely loved doing that for you guys. I had a great time watching all the films, and so I had a lot of excitement about a new Hunger Games movie. And it was a prequel about Snow, the main villain. Like, how are you going to turn him into, I guess, the main character? Like, okay, are you going to be, is his character going to be just complete psycho, or is he going to be have a sweet side? And for like a half of this movie, he had a sweet side, and I was like, wait, this is a different Snow. Like, what am I watching? Okay, okay, how, what? Okay, and then they came the second half, and I was like, oh no, this is the same Snow. No. Stop this man on his tracks right now. So I was really invested in the story, really invested in the characters, and dare I say, I was invested, like, I was almost rooting for Snow, almost, for at least the first half, like I said. And then the second half, like I said, he just turned into a full-on psycho. And then, number 8, something I love. The Scream franchise. And so, Scream 6 is up on my number 8 of best sequels. Dude, I was so hyped for this movie whenever it came out. I even got a visit from Ghostface himself. I'm alright, by the way. I'm alright. I did survive. I beat the hell out of that guy. Not really. That was a joke. But dude, seriously, every bit of this was fantastic. I think the only negative was the ending was a bit like, it was a meh ending, because it kind of replicated one of the previous movies. And I was like, alright, but it was just meh. But everything else was phenomenal. The gore, the characters, the story, the everything was phenomenal. Love the set design. Love how different this movie feels, at least before the ending. But like bringing back Gale, bringing back Kirby, and having them meet, and the new characters, Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega, so fantastic. I'm just so sad Scream 7 probably isn't happening anymore. It just makes me sad. Heck, I'm a filmmaker myself. Give me the rights and I'll make it. Number 7, John Wick Chapter 4. I watched every John Wick movie like right before this movie came out. So I was like super hyped for this movie when it released. Because I think honestly John Wick is one of the most perfect trilogies in all of cinema. And then come the 4th film, I was like, alright, this is the best 4th, like, how do you call it, like, trilogy, and the 4th, I don't know, but this is the best one. And because this was just so phenomenal, I do not even have any negatives to say about this movie. I love the cinematography, the action. Keanu Reeves was fantastic about this movie, and everything. The final battle, the first act, second act, third act, everything was perfect. Coming up at number 6, we have Extraction 2. I watched Extraction 1 probably a year ago or something like that, and whenever I saw that Extraction 2 was going to be something this year, my excitement level was through the roof. Because I loved the first one, and then hearing about like a 20 minutes long one take or whatever you want to call it, I was like, okay, this is about to be peak. And it is. Like I said with the John Wick, I do not have any negatives to say about this movie. Love the action, love Chris Hemsworth's performance. Everyone's performance was great. The one take was phenomenal, and the cinematography was phenomenal, and the story was phenomenal. So I can't really say anything negative because this is just a perfect film. Now, number 5, we have Creed 3. I will say this. I haven't seen the Rocky franchise.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Yes, hate me, blame me. Yes, I haven't. I started on the Creed franchise. I'm sorry, because I didn't even know that Creed was an, like, sequel, I guess, to kind of half sequel to kind of like the Rocky franchise. I did not know that. So I watched Creed, absolutely loved it. Watched Creed 2, phenomenal film. So I went out to see Creed 3, and same, again, like, perfect movie. I have nothing bad to say. The fight scene and the build up and the training montage and everything was perfect. The dynamic between the family and Damien Anderson, you know, and Michael B. Jordan, or Jonathan Majors and Michael B. Jordan, was phenomenal. And the boxing sequences was phenomenal. And I don't have any negatives to say about this movie because it was just so perfect. Come out number 4, we have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And again, honestly, I'm sorry, but I have to say this again. It's a perfect movie. I have nothing negative to say about this movie. Hate me or dislike me or anything, I have nothing bad to say about this movie. The team building, the team was phenomenal. Every character, phenomenal. I almost cried for a coon in my life that I would never honestly think that I would say that sentence, but I did right now. And what James Gunn with the Guardian trilogy was perfect. And again, this is a perfect trilogy. And now for my number 3, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. And wow, I did. And again, I watched every single Mission Impossible movie right before watching this movie. I even have it on Steelbook down there right now. Because the franchise is phenomenal. Love it. And when it comes to Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, also phenomenal film. I have nothing negative to say about it. I love how this feels like a part 1, but also a cohesive story. It doesn't like cut away right away. Like, I will say Fast and Furious kind of just randomly cuts. And this is a story. Now coming up at number 2, we have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And again, I have nothing bad to say about this movie. It was perfect. Love the animation style. Love the story. Even, like, I loved the first movie, Into the Spider-Verse. So seeing this sequel got me so hyped for Beyond the Spider-Verse. And that ending, I won't spoil it, but that was so crazy. I was like, what the yeah, dude, I was so crazy. I was so excited, and this movie just blew me away. Another film that blew me away is the number 1, and that is Saw X. I loved how kind of like this story was more focused on John Kramer and how his personal life is. Loved how like the personality, and loved the traps. The gory, brutal traps was great, and the characters were all great. Phenomenal performance, and seeing Amanda Young again returning, and Tobin Bell as John Kramer again on the screen, on the big screen, even though I didn't even watch it in theaters, but it was just phenomenal. I have nothing more to say. It's just a perfect movie. It's the next day, but best biopics. There were some great biopics this year, and I became a fan of biopics this year. So first off, at number 8, I don't have a top 10 for this, is Flaming Hot. If you were to tell me, like, at least 2 years ago or 1 year ago, that I would have been watching and enjoying a movie about the creation of the hot Cheeto, I would assume you have gone crazy. But still, this movie is so good. It's so fucking good that I enjoyed every second of it, you know? Is it the best biopic? Maybe not. No. We'll come back to that later. But I still really loved it. The performance was great. The overall story was great and was really captivated in the story. Like, how is he going to make it? How is blah blah blah, all these things, and it was just so entertaining. Coming up at number 7, we have Tetris. This is the movie that started the whole kind of biopic movie trend for me, because I wouldn't have cared for any biopics before this year, because I thought it was so boring. Nothing really happens. It's just talking, blah blah blah. It's so boring. But when I watched Tetris, I was like, okay, what the fuck did just happen? Why was this so good? Why was this so captivating? And again, I enjoyed every second of it. It was phenomenal for me. And then the building, or the marketing marketing of the Tetris game was so interesting to watch that I couldn't stop watching. I couldn't stop taking my eyes off the screen, you know? Now coming up number 6, we have Dumb Money. This was a biopic that interested me, even though I don't really know. I'm 16 years old, okay? Yes, I'm young. Maybe sometimes I don't look that young. I've been told I look 23. I've been told I look over 20. So I'm 16 years old. So I don't really know a lot about stocks and all of these kind of stuff. But I heard the name GameStop, and I was like, that is something I used to go to, because in Scandinavia, where I live in Norway, GameStop went bankrupt and had to shut down. So we haven't had GameStop in so long. So I heard GameStop and I was like, okay, all right, this could be interesting. A biopic of GameStop, okay, count me in. And I watched it, and it was so entertaining. It was really entertaining. Maybe I won't understand some parts of the stocks and everything, but I don't care. It was so entertaining. It was so captivating. The characters were great, real life characters were great, but it was just so fun to watch. And this was one of the first one I saw in theaters. What I say one of it because there were some couple on ones, but it was still fantastic, and I loved every second of it. Now coming up at my number 5, it is going to be Air, directed by Ben Affleck. This was the first time I seen Ben Affleck direct something. I only seen him in the Batman vs Superman, and of course DCEU. Rest in peace, by the way. But and this was also the second biopic I saw, because I saw Factors, and okay, these biopics are very fun about making and selling of things. So let's see Air, you know? And that was so great. The movie was fantastic. Loved every character, and the performance they used was so performance they did was great, and it was just so interesting. This was so entertaining. Another entertaining was number 4, and that was Blackberry. Again, like, it was so entertaining. But if you were to tell me, like, 1 year ago, you've been watching a biopic of a making of a phone, a old phone that was before your generation, I was like, okay, you're going crazy. Can we send this guy to a mental asylum? Like, jeez. But here we are. And this blew me away. Really, this blew me away. I loved and loved and loved every second of it. I saw this in theaters, and loved the dynamic. The Glenn Howerton's character was so funny, and the other comedic things was so great. And like, also Matt Johnson's character, really funny too. And I love the cinematography. They had some great cinematography of this movie, and everything was really great. Now, number 4 is Killers of the Flower Moon. Look, I wasn't really interested in watching this movie, but I saw all the reviews saying it's a good, decent, really fucking good movie. I was like, even with this 3.5-hour runtime, fine. Let me see what all this hype is, you know? And when I tell you, this was phenomenal, it really was. The only negative was the runtime that couldn't been shorter by maybe like 20 minutes or something like that. But still, that's the only negative. Because the performance of Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro, Lil Gladstone, all of those, and the direction of Martin Scorsese's was so great. And fun fact, this was the first time I've seen any Martin Scorsese's movie, and I love his directing. Now for the number 2 is The Burial. Dude, same with like the Elemental I talked about earlier. I watched it on my phone in a road trip. Was not the same road trip, but still. But this movie was so entertaining. I shit you not, it was so entertaining. I almost didn't want to like stop, you know. There were so many stops across the way I was going. And they were like, okay, come on, Toby, okay, come on, get out. You have to take a breather. Yes, it's so hard to say it in English, but I don't know. It's Norwegian translated to English. But dude, I didn't want to stop because I watched The Burial, and the comedy, the action, the core things, phenomenal. And now, number 1, the Blu-ray or Steelbook of Oppenheimer, and that is because this movie fucking rules. I absolutely love it, and the like performance, the cinematography, the direction, even the script. I have even the screenplay. I read it a little bit, and it was just so interesting. And same with that, the story was interesting. I loved it, and that ending, that is one of the most terrifying endings. It's probably better than any horror movie I've seen this year. And now, one that I am looking forward to talking about, the best comic book movie of 2023, and beginning with The Flash at number 5. I know not everyone is liking this movie, but dude, I loved it. I found it to be so fun and so enjoyable. Do you think that I don't see the CGI? The CGI is terrible, okay? Yes, I even joked around it in multiple videos. CGI heavy movie, and for the most part, it's not great. I've seen worse. Anyways, but the story and the acting and this is just the story, acting, it was just so entertaining. So it has a place on the best comic book movie of the year. And now for number 4, it's TMNT Mutant Mayhem, or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. I was unsure if I were going to put it on this list because is it really a comic book movie? I don't actually really know myself, but when I Google it, it says it is. Comment down below if it isn't. But for me, this was a great one. I recently rewatched it on my friend's channel, Luke Ponto. I rewatched it with him on his watch along, and it was still so great. I love the animation style. Love how the Turtles is actually played by teenager this time, not even like a full-on adult trying to be a teenager. The teenage language was kind of a little bit like over the top, but it's fine. But the action sequences, the villain, the everything was so great. I even watched it 2 times in the theater, and I rarely do that. I rarely go back to a theater and rewatch a movie. I think that's the first time. Yeah, that is the first time I've done that ever. That was the first time I rewatched it in a theater instead of like at home or something like that. And that was this year, and it still blew me away how good this was. Now coming up number 3, we have Blue Beetle. Look, is it the best comic book movie ever made? No. Is it generic as hell? Yes. Yes, it is. But can't we not just appreciate a fun, entertaining movie for once? And generic, fun, entertaining origin story to a superhero. But still, this was so great. I love the family dynamic in this movie, the whole action sequences, and the villain. The villain was alright, but it was just so fun. And now another movie again, coming up number 2 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I said a lot. I cared about a raccoon first time in our life, and the team dynamic, what James Gunn did with the Guardians was great, and the fight scenes and honestly everything was perfect. And again, I said it a lot about it, but Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse takes this. Animation, like I said, love the all different animation style. The cliffhanger ending is alright, but I think it fits just perfectly. Can't wait for the next one. And the villain, Miguel O'Hara was great. And seeing all those Spider-Man together in this like kind of hub thing, it was so great. But that's just the end of part 1. I said that the part 2 is already up on the channel. It is not. It's coming tomorrow or the 1st of January. I will see if my schedule works, and but I will also link it down in the description when it comes out, if you see it later. And if you enjoyed this so far, if you even made it here, be sure to like and subscribe, or follow me on the social media platforms. I have Twitter, X, Instagram, all kind of stuff. Link is all down in the description. Also with the letterbox list is also down in the description. But I'll see you guys in another video. Peace out.